ki jai. Ekadashi Vrat ki jai. Okay. Everybody should get jai jai. Otherwise, it's not good not to remember Ekadashi. Ekadashi is a personality. Okay. Now, let's start our discussions. So, I suggest or request the host to mute, so that, in case there's any disturbance, it will be, taken care. And somebody wants to ask, at the end we have question answer session. Okay. So now we'll quickly go through our previous discussions from chapter 1, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And today we would like to cover another 13 verses of the fourth section in second chapter, from verses 41 to 53. Okay, so we have a lot to discuss today. So we will try to complete and to understand nicely. Okay, I hope everybody is keeping the Bhagavad Gita as it is book in front of you, so that when we are discussing, I want you to see the verses at least, the translation at least, so that we can move forward in a very systematic manner. So today is the overview of the overview of chapter 2, part 5. Okay, try to cover 13 verses today. This will complete the fourth section of second chapter. So to quickly give you the the recap of what we have discussed. So Bhagavad Gita is having 18 chapters, out of which the first chapter is more or less setting the scene. It is giving you the background of what is going to be discussed in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So it is like when a drama begins, there is a stage setting, or in a movie also, initially few scenes are shown what you're going to see the rest of the movie. It's like that. So Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, and Mahabharata at one point of time reached a stage, history of Mahabharata, wherein there was a world war. It's called War of Mahabharata. So the Bhagavad Gita actually begins when the war was about to begin. Rather, Bhagavad Gita's context stage is when the war was about to begin. And when the war was about to begin, what all different people were observing from their own perspective is what first chapter describes. There is Dhritarashtra sitting in the palace of Hastinapura, who is blind by birth, and he is inquiring from his secretary Sanjaya, what is happening? My sons and Pandu's sons are all on the battlefield. What happened? Next. Right? He was very anxious. He was completely blinded spiritually also. So he was in a great anxiety regarding the outcome of the whole battle. What is happening with his own sons basically. And one more observer is actually Dhritarashtra's son, eldest son. What is his name? Duryodhana, right? Duryodhana, because when this question was asked by Dhritarashtra to Sanjaya, immediately Sanjaya said, "Don't worry, my dear king, your son Duryodhana is very, very active, and he's very enthusiastic, and he's like a great politician. He's arranging everything, and he's seeing everything is properly in place. He's meeting the commander-in-chief. He's meeting Dronacharya. He's meeting Bhishma. Everybody, and he's all in full control." So he gave assurance. Sanjaya gave assurance to Dhritarashtra that don't worry, your son is very, very capable, right? But side by side, there was also a sense of fear in Duryodhana. As a politician, he was trying to arrange things, but there's a sense of fear. Then the third observer was Sanjaya himself, who was giving his devotional perspective with regard to how Krishna, Supreme Lord, is there on the battlefield, who is the all-pervading personality, who is all-controller, who is supreme controller, Ishvara, and he is also Madhava, the husband of Lakshmi, and he is there. And on the other side, he is driving the chariot of his devotee Arjuna, and Arjuna's chariot also is having a lot of wonderful wonderful features, like the chariot has a flag which is marked with Hanuman, which means Lord's wonderful servant. Hanumanji was personally there to help in the battle for Arjuna, to give his blessings. And the chariot itself was gifted by the Devatas. Like that, that way a lot of wonderful indications were there. Sanjaya told to Dhritarashtra that indirectly it mentioned that actually victory is with the Pandavas. Right? Like this, the description goes on, and one point of time, when the conch shells were blown, Sanjaya mentioned actually the Dhritarashtra's sons and the Kaurava side, everybody felt heart shattered. They were all feeling fear. When the Pandava side, there was conch shells blown. Whereas the same conch shells blown on the Kaurava side, Pandavas didn't feel any such things. This only indicates that Pandavas were under the protection of Krishna. And the one more observer, important observer, the hero of our story is Arjuna, who was there as a very great fighter, about to release his arrows from his bow, and he was just on his chariot with his chariot driver Krishna himself, and he is telling Krishna, please take the chariot in between the two armies. Let me see what is going on. And let me see what is the strength of both the armies, and let me strategize what is there. And Krishna did that, brought the chariot in between. That time Arjuna's whole his whole vision changed, because he's seeing on either side different types of relatives, different types of friends, different types of well-wishers, so many people who are very close to the family and the friend circle. So Arjuna became overwhelmed with compassion, and that same person who was ready to fight, now he is giving different reasons and arguments why he should not fight. He was overwhelmed with compassion, overwhelmed with a lot of emotions. That way he became very morose and sat on the chariot crying. This is first chapter, right? Then we came to the second chapter, wherein that scene of the first chapter of Arjuna being very morose, lamenting and crying continues. Sanjaya explains, this is how Arjuna was, eyes brimming with tears. He was very morose, and in this way Arjuna was lamenting. And Krishna, who's driving as a chariot driver, his friend, he saw, what is my friend doing? This Arjuna, why has he become like this? I never seen him. He's actually Parantapa. He's a great fighter, but now he has looks like he has something has overtaken him. He was in fact like a good friend of a good friend, best friend. You would like to cheer him up. What are you doing, my friend? Your decision like this not to fight is not going to give you any fame. Akirtikaram, right? Asvargyam, it's not going to give you heavenly planets. Rather, your activity is only showing that you are anarya. You are actually not even civilized. Don't even know what is the purpose of life. You're not following your principles. Looks like there is some weakness overtaken you. Weakness of heart has overtaken you. So come out of this weakness and fight, Arjuna. So Krishna is trying to inspire his friend Arjuna to fight. And Arjuna further continues to give many reasonings. He says, Krishna, actually, the people whom I have to fight are not ordinary people. They're all Mahanubhava. Bhishma, my grandfather, my teacher, Drona, like this, great personalities are there. Krishna, would you kill your own grandfather? Would you kill your own teacher? You're only known as Madhusudana. Madhusudana means you are killer of enemy. You're not called Ugrasena Sudana. Right? So that way, indirectly, Arjuna was indicating, what are you telling, Krishna? This is not possible for me. Do you think by killing all these people, you'll be happy? The taints of the blood from these people will only, further give us remembrance that what great sin we have done. So like this, Arjuna goes on, and finally he says, now I'm confused what to do, Krishna. Whether to kill them or we being killed by them. I am in such a confused state of affairs. Karpanya dosha. I have lost my composure. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what is the right thing. You please guide me. I will surrender as a disciple to you. Shishyasteham. Because the way I'm in a dilemmatic situation, my whole body is burning and I don't know what is the right path. So please guide me. So when Arjuna surrendered himself as a disciple, Krishna was sitting as a chariot driver, smiling at his friend. Finally, you have surrendered. Finally, you have given up everything. Then Krishna starts beginning his instruction. So initially, Krishna starts instructions on the soul. See, the way Krishna begins instructions is very interesting. Now, first and foremost, he gives the basic understanding. Your lamentation, the root cause of a lamentation is that you don't know who you are. So Krishna, in the next 20 verses, from 11 to 30, he gives the complete description of what is the soul, who you are, what is your identity, right? We are actually Atma, Brahman, spirit, soul. We are ever existing. We are always going to continue our existence even after this body is lost. So in different ways, Krishna explains to Arjuna that his cause of lamentation with regard to loss of body or killing his relatives or killing the other party people is not at all a good reasoning. Because as soul, neither we kill anybody nor anybody can kill us. Right? In different ways, Krishna, through various teachings from different Vedic understandings, he gave his version with regard to the identity of I as a person. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. So this is the basic misconception all of us have, misidentifying ourselves and lamenting for what we are not. It is like in the dream, if you simply dream that a tiger is attacking me, dream after all, right? What is the best course of remedy for that? Just you wake up, then your dream is over. So the whole misconception that I am this body is the main problem for all of us. This is the basic lesson which Krishna gives in the first section, rather the first lesson what he gives about the nature of the soul. Very detailed analysis he gives, analytical study of soul. Next, Krishna explains, okay, you are a soul, but now you are embodied. You got a body. So based on the body, you're supposed to do some duty. Every body, in a specific situation, you are supposed to do a duty. So that duty depends on what? It depends on your nature. What type of nature? It's called guna. Guna and karma, your previous inclinations and your previous different action reaction cycles, net effect of that is called karma. So guna karma will decide what you're supposed to do. Right? So this is called swadharma, swadharma of the body. Because everybody has some inclination, everybody has some nature, everybody has some type of a liking to do something. So you are born in a Kshatriya family and you are trained as a Kshatriya in one way. So your swadharma of the body in which you are living is of a Kshatriya. So you cannot run away from this duty of a Kshatriya. So please do this duty. So Krishna is reminding, like this, everybody who is having specific duties with regard to their material situation, they have to do. Running away from their duty is of no use. This was the second instruction which Krishna gave about the duty, karma, right? So this particular section, Krishna further elaborated in a way that the duty you are doing, but if it is not guided properly, then it will be misguided, like by how you are confused now. This will not bring any fame for you, it will rather bring infamy for you. Better you die fighting in the battle. Don't simply take this decision of running away from the battle. Because a Kshatriya means he has to fight bravely. He has to face the enemies. He has to not run away from the battle. All these things Krishna was explaining. Basically, he was trying to explain Arjuna, you're running away from your Kshatriya duty. Don't do this. Perform your duty of a Kshatriya properly. So finally, Krishna concluded this section by telling, you have to fight as a matter of duty. This is my order. Right? This is what Krishna very nicely explained towards the end. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting. Don't consider happiness, distress, loss, victory. Because when there's a matter of duty, there's no such consideration. It just has to be done. So this much Krishna explained. And now, from verse 39 onwards, Krishna explains a very important section of the whole Bhagavad Gita that is called Buddhi Yoga. Right? Krishna explains that so far, I've explained, Arjuna, to you, the analytical study of the body, soul, and all these things. Now, I'm going to give you understanding of what is known as Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Because in this, one has to work without any expectation of result for himself. Right? So, because any work done with expectation of result will bind you in the material world. So that is what is going on. So my instruction to you about this highest type of activity for the soul, which is actually the activity of the soul in its natural state, that is called Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. And this is going to relieve you from all bondage to the material world. Karma bandham prahasyasi. Right? So with this, Krishna started explaining about the nature of Bhakti Yoga. See, all of us have to do some activity. We cannot sit silently or idle. Right? So, Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter is basically either you do your prescribed duty called Swadharma. Prescribed duty means the duty which is prescribed for you based on your inclination of work and your nature of nature of your inclination and all these things called guna karma. If you do that as per the Vedic direction, that is also good. If you don't do something which is not recommended in the Vedas, or rather what is not prescribed for you, that is one recommendation. And Krishna further goes to next level, telling in Bhagavad Gita that you do work which is actually known as Bhakti Yoga, which I am going to instruct in this whole chapter nicely, whole Bhagavad Gita nicely. That is the whole instruction. So Krishna now immediately starts explaining about the nature of this Bhakti Yoga. He says, even a little endeavor on this path will not give you any loss. Rather, it's going to protect you from the greatest danger. There is no loss or diminution, Krishna says. Because always when we do something, we look for profit. Right? And we don't want any loss in our work. So Krishna is very nicely explaining from the business perspective. In this work, there is no loss. Whatever you do, only profit. And the profit is such that it will continue life after life. It will only accumulate. It's cumulative. Right? Cumulative account it is. It goes on increasing your whole account is only going to increase life after life. Whereas, which means Krishna wants to say, spiritual activity, which is known as Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness is an activity which is going to continue life after life. It's a continuous a thing which is not going to die, or rather is not going to finish with this body. Any other activity you do other than this is going to stop with this body. So only do activity which is known as Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. That is Krishna's recommendation. This is the first nature. The nature, the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness is that it is unending. It is eternal. It is going to only benefit the soul forever. It's going to increase your spiritual account always. That is what Krishna explained in verse number 40. And verse 41, Krishna says, today I'm not going to take you through presentation at all. I'm going to only talk. Okay, you have to listen. See the verse when I'm talking, because I don't want to divert your attention. I'm telling a story now, Bhagavad Gita story. Now, Krishna is going to tell how this work has to happen. See, very nicely Krishna uses the word Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya basically means business. What is the business? What should be your business? Krishna says your Vyavasaya, your business should be one-pointed. Should be focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. Right. So which path? This path of bhakti yoga should be done with full focus. And the aim should be only one. Krishna doesn't explain what is the aim, but understood. Aim is to serve Krishna, satisfy Krishna. That is the only aim. So, Krishna further says, if your aim is not one, that is bhakti yoga, then you will be many branched, which means you're not focused in one thing. So many things you'll be doing. Right? Jack of all, master of none. You heard this? Everything you want to do, but he doesn't know anything fully, properly. That's what Krishna is telling here. So, be focused, because this is what you're supposed to do. Bhakti yoga, buddhi yoga. If you focus fully, you have full attention to this, and you're determined to do this properly and make me as your aim, that is the best thing. Anything else if you do, then you will be simply diverted, distracted. It is said, no, even our mind can only do one thing at a time. It is said, the pilots, they are very focused when they are, driving their flight. Little diversion, it may cause disaster, and the whole fleet, the passengers, everybody are in danger. So they are not supposed to get diverted here and there. Horse, you see horse, they put something in front of the eyes. Why? Because if it sees here and there, then the person sitting on the horse will fall down anywhere. Right? Chariot will go for a fixer. That's what it is. We are also like that. If you want to do everything, I want to enjoy like this, I want to do business, that, all that you do, but all should be for Krishna. You do it for yourself, for me, my country, my society, my family, everybody, I want to satisfy everybody, then that is not going to work out. Okay. So having said this much, Prabhupada explains in the purport very nicely. Okay, so my aim is one. That should be very fixed up, very focused. Who will tell me what is my aim? In Bhakti Yoga. So this Bhakti Yoga aim is known by the bona fide spiritual master, authorized representative of Krishna, coming in Parampara. Right? So Prabhupada says, service in Krishna consciousness is best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of Krishna. So you cannot simply, now you should be focused in Krishna's service. You cannot speculate, you cannot manufacture, you cannot concoct your way of doing service to Krishna. It has to be authorized. Authority comes from the authorized representative of Krishna. And Prabhupada gives his own personal example. He often quotes this verse number 41, Vyavasayatmika buddhi, and tells, I was firmly having faith in my spiritual master's words. Whole life, I only wanted to execute his orders. That's all, nothing more. Prabhupada says, what is the secret of advancing in Krishna consciousness? Right? Prabhupada says, the biggest secret is you have to firmly obey the representative of Krishna and act accordingly. And this should be our one's life's mission, nothing else. Krishna says, focus on Bhakti Yoga only, Buddhi Yoga. And Prabhupada says further that focus on Krishna can come only by taking instruction from his Guru, from a representative of Krishna known as spiritual master. And spiritual master's order should be taken as life's mission. That's what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada got the order from his spiritual master when he was only 26 years old in 1922. The same order was repeated when Prabhupada's spiritual master was about to pass away from this world, 1936, right? 14 years later. And that order became Prabhupada's life and soul, his life's mission. What was the order? Preach this message of Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to entire English-speaking world. Prabhupada kept this in his heart and wanted to execute this. He tried his best. Right? Whole life he was only doing this. That was his life's mission. At the fag end of his life, he gave his final try to go to the West And Krishna's plan was such that he has to succeed. So like this, Prabhupada never gave up until the last moment of his breath to fulfill the order of his spiritual master, which means his goal was only one. His vyavasaya, his business only was one, to preach Krishna consciousness, which is order received from his spiritual master. Right? Otherwise, we'll do so many things. If you ask anybody, why don't you come for Bhagavad Gita class? Very busy. What you are busy for? I have to go for a mall. Now I have some, marriage program, some party, that, this. Many. Boshakha. Right? Very, I have many branches. Right? My children branch, my neighbor branch, my boyfriend branch, my girlfriend branch. Many branches are there. So I have to go all of them. Right? Like this. Even nowadays, in the mobile, all these applications, WhatsApp, Facebook, all these things, they are actually Baushakha. For every application, you need one prana. One life air is required for that. Because WhatsApp, what is going on to track, you have to spend so much time. Similarly, Facebook, you'll have so many accounts, Many times, sometimes you operate, sometimes you can't operate. That's how it is. So, understand, Baushaka means no focus. Only one focus is Krishna. That is what is going to give you perfection. That's what Krishna says. Now, Krishna comes on to next tell us how people may say, what about Vedas? Vedas, so many things they say, they say about going to heaven, worship of some devatas, and do some havan ritual. So many things Vedas say. What about all those things? So Krishna says very nicely, yes, there are many flowery language in Vedas. And all this flowery language in Vedas is followed by, or rather, it's very much attached by those people who are vipaschitaha, avipaschitaha. Avipaschitaha means who is not very intelligent. Not very intelligent. Poor fund of knowledge, Prabhupada says. Right? One who is not very intelligent, they get attracted to this flowery language of the Vedas. Prabhupada compares this flowery language of the Vedas. Flowery language means, if you do this, you'll go to heaven. Heaven means and nice apsaras. You can enjoy. And that's what some religions tell now. If you do kill other religious people, you will go to heaven and you'll get virgin girls there. So like this, very, really, let me kill everybody. Like this, people get attracted. And people who get such attraction are basically attracted for what? They have kama, desire to enjoy this material world. Desire to go to Swarga. Or desire to make this world Swarga. How to make this world Swarga? Where there is a lot of, enjoyment for senses. Very nice story Prabhupada gives, very instructive story. Once one Christian priest was preaching to one person because he was a drunkard, other person. Telling, see, if you drink, you'll go to heaven, you'll go to hell. Then this person started telling, Father, even my mother also drinks. Acha, then she will also go to hell. No, Father, not only my mother, my father also drinks. Really? Then that also, he will also go to hell. Not only my father, mother, even my wife also drinks. Acha, and she will also go to hell. Like this, he went on. All family members drink. Then father told, everybody will go to hell. Then this person started telling, then Father, that hell is not hell, it is heaven, because all of us are drinking now. So this is the conception of heaven for people, where there is wine, where there is enjoyment of senses, right? Janma, karma. Oh, I have to have a big family. Sometimes people are very proud. See, he is my son, he is my grandson, he is my great-grandson, and a great-grandson, wife is pregnant now. She will give delivery, she will give birth in next, 1 month. This is my family. Janma means, see, I'm so great. I produced so many children and I have, made such a nice hereditary, like inherited. So big, this heredity I have got. This is one more thing people want. So like this, people are attracted to sense gratification, family, importance, and gratification of senses by so many ways. This is what people are interested. Right? Krishna says, Bhoga Aishwarya. These two things people are very much interested. Bhoga means sense enjoyment, and Aishwarya means opulence. We got big bungalow now. Not only bungalow in Bangalore, we have bungalow all over India. Every major state, major city, I have bungalow. Oh, I have in Burj Khalifa also. 80th floor, big villa is there. So it's all status. They will not go there at all, but they want to show that I am so big, opulency, big man. In Delhi, we have seen mostly there are 2 people, but 10 cars in the house. Once I asked one of our well-wishers, why 10 cars? No, because if you don't keep 10 cars, then people think we are very poor. But I want to show off, so many cars, and I think our Zoom user will know how Delhi is, So like this, people want to show off so much, show off, self-glorification. This is what people want, and they themselves say, "Oh, we follow Vedas so nicely. We are Vedavada Ratha." So Prabhupada says, like this, people who are not very intelligent, they are generally addicted or rather attracted to sense gratification like this. And in the name of Vedic way of following, they want to do so many rituals, so many havans, the name only. But they don't want to progress in Krishna consciousness. They are not Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, they are Baushaka. Their interest is simply enjoy senses in the name of doing some dharma. Right? In the name of Vedic rituals, they want to enjoy life. So Krishna condemns this way of life. And further in verse 44, he says, people whose minds are diverted like this are too attached to Bhoga Aishwarya, sense enjoyment and opulence, material opulence, because with 2 things, sense enjoyment, opulence, constantly only I want this. More sense enjoyment, more money, more wealth, more property. This mind is fully absorbed. Krishna says, these people are bewildered about these things. Apahrita chetasam. In such people, the determination to have focused attention that what is the purpose of life, I should only serve Krishna, will not come about, will not happen. Krishna says, samadhau na vidhiyate. Such people, the attraction to Krishna, service to Krishna will not come easily because they are so much absorbed in all these things. Mind is fully filled up with how to enjoy senses, how to gratify my senses to more and more higher levels, how to increase my opulence, increase my property, my wealth. This is what they are thinking. So Krishna's advice to Arjuna is, say Arjuna, like this, Vedas is filled with all its instructions. Verse 45. Veda is having all its instructions. So mostly they deal with activities concerning 3 modes. What is 3 modes? 3 modes are the energy of Krishna, known as material energy, Maya, working in characteristic way to influence all of us. We'll understand more about this 3 modes in 14th chapter, but Krishna is introducing this concept. So mostly the Vedas deal with the subject matter of 3 modes of nature, which means the material world is only simply a permutation combination of these 3 modes, right? So Arjuna, don't become influenced by this Vedic way of understanding. You come to the purpose of the Vedas. Okay, you come to the Vedanta understanding. Vedanta understanding means Bhagavata understanding. Bhagavatam is the explanation of Vedanta. Vedanta means the essence of all the Vedas. Don't simply get carried away with details of this Vedic understanding. Some people say that, some people say this. You go to one Pandit, just like Sanalji was telling, the Pandit in Jagannath Puri is telling, oh, you can eat. What is there? Rice you can eat nicely. That is what people say. You can get recommendation also like this in somewhere, some Purana. But point is, what is the purpose of life? What you should be doing? That's why Krishna says, come to the proper purpose. You rise above these modes and come to the proper purpose by understanding the purpose of the Vedanta. Vedanta says you should be above these dualities, good, bad, happiness, distress, heat, cold, nirdvandvaha. You become situated in the sattva, become situated in the your real self, right? In that way, you always come out of this, so-called dualistic way of life and come out of these anxieties of this life, because in this world, always people are running behind what to do, what happens, all these things people are running behind. Vedanta only explains to you to have a life of completely anxiety-free life, a carefree life, a life of complete bliss. Vedanta explains. Bhagavatam is explaining that only. To understand that purpose, Arjuna, so nicely Krishna is explaining. First he speaks, actually there is no loss in doing bhakti yoga, always gain. And to do bhakti yoga, you should be very focused, determined. If you are not focused, if you are many branched, gone case. Because we have seen people who are studying Vedas also, they are mostly gone cases, because they are very much diverted with so many details of Vedas, karma kanda, that upasana kanda, like this, and they are lost in details. They don't know the purpose of Vedas. So, if you are like this, then determination to do bhakti will not come to you, Arjuna. So better, I recommend, don't get into these details, and don't get carried away with these details. You become focused with the Vedanta, the purpose of the Vedas, and wherein the purpose of Vedas is to become indifferent to these dualities of this world and become situated in your real self, that is Atma, and connection with your super self, Paramatma. That is the whole purpose. For this, Krishna gives an example in verse number 46. He says, just like if one in earlier villages, earlier times, villages at least, even now there are different wells for different purposes. One well is used for drinking water, one well is used for bathing, one well for washing something, like this, there are different wells. Even ponds also, small ponds are there. Ponds are used for different things. So Krishna says, actually, one pond will be used for specific purpose. Like that, Vedic understanding, specific section of Vedas will deal with different types of understandings. But if you come to a flowing river, you can take bath, you can take water for drinking, you can do whatever you want. Right? So Krishna says, likewise, if you come to the basic understanding of the purpose of the Vedas, then all the other aspects of Vedic understanding is fulfilled. So many rituals, so many different types of activities, different, that Purana is telling this Upanishad is telling this. Why are you getting confused? Understand the purpose of the Vedas as given in the Vedanta. And this Vedanta essence is what Bhagavad Gita is. Krishna explains, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedya. Understanding me and serving me is the purpose, ultimate purpose. If you have lost this, then you are lost. You would have seen many people nicely chanting Bhagavad Gita. Wow, all verses so nicely. But you ask them any meaning, what is the purpose? They don't know. That is not the purpose of Vedas. Right? Purpose of Vedas is to know the actual intent of Bhagavad Gita's knowledge. That is to become devotee of Krishna and serve Krishna. This is what Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. You serve me, you surrender to me. That is what your actual situation is. So like this, Prabhupada goes on to say that to understand the purpose of Vedas, one must be intelligent enough without getting into details or rituals. Right? There are smart Brahmanas described in the Vedic scriptures who are very much attached to many rituals. And many times the smart Brahmanas don't get the essence, purpose of what is supposed to be done. They get lost in details. That is not required. What is required is, what is the purpose? What is the ultimate goal we are supposed to achieve by doing any activity? That is Krishna's service. Krishna consciousness, Buddhi Yoga, you are supposed to come to. So Prabhupada says very nicely, in Kali Yuga, we don't have that much time, that much energy, that much intelligence to study all the Vedas, understand the purpose. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mercifully come 500 years ago, has given us the purpose in a very simplistic manner. He said, you cannot understand Vedanta actually. Even Vedanta understanding is not easy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very nice pastime happened with his spiritual master, Ishwarapuri. Right? Today is the disappearance day of Ishwarapuri, the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he met his spiritual master, he gave him, it only told him, chant Hare Krishna mantra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met some Mayavadi sannyasis in Varanasi. Mayavadi sannyasis are supposed to study Vedanta, Vedas, Upanishads deeply. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was only chanting, dancing in Varanasi, Kashi. So this Mayavadi sannyasis asked him, what are you doing? You're doing something nonsense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my spiritual master considered me to be a fool, because I cannot study Vedanta and all. He told me only to chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because studying Vedanta, actually speaking, in Kali Yuga, most of the population is foolish. Right? They are not adequately educated to understand what is Vedic understanding, Vedic Vedanta philosophy. Right? The best purpose of the Vedanta is served by chanting Hare Krishna mantra without offenses. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the ultimate purpose to us. Right? We chant Hare Krishna mantra, holy name every day, then you are actually studying Bhagavad Gita nicely, or you have studied all Vedas nicely. Prabhupada quotes a verse from Bhagavatam. Mother Devahuti, mother of Lord Kapila Dev, she says, on whose tongue holy name is appearing, they're able to vibrate. That person has performed all rituals. He has studied all the Vedas. He has performed all austerities. Which means, if anybody is chanting Hare Krishna, he has done everything required to come to that stage. All the different recommendations in the Vedas he has done. So, you may be a big Vedantist, you may be knowing all Vedas, you may be a very strict follower of all rituals, but if you are not chanting Hare Krishna, then you are useless. Very nice joke Prabhupada used to say. Right? So, in America, Krishna consciousness movement became very popular at one point of time. So, husband is chanting Hare Krishna. Okay. He's telling wife, chant Hare Krishna, chant, chant, chant. Wife is telling, can't. Right? So it is a joke which Prabhupada often says. She can say can't, but she cannot chant Hare Krishna. So like this. So this is what people think, I know everything, I'm a very big scholar, I'm that, I'm this. But they can't chant Hare Krishna. Problem is that they don't know what is the purpose of different studies, different academic achievements, and all the various things, what they do. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm that PhD, I'm useless if you don't chant Hare Krishna. That's why Prabhupada says, Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and author and knower of Vedanta is Krishna himself. Vedanta Krit, Vedanta Krit, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Vedanta Vid, Vedanta Krit. He is knower of Vedanta, author of Vedanta. And the highest Vedantist is whom? He is a great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Ultimate statement Prabhupada makes. This is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. I know Bhagavad Gita, I know that, I know this. You are not chanting, good for nothing. If you are chanting, but you don't know anything else, no problem. Krishna will reveal everything slowly. That is the point. So Prabhupada mercy, all of us are greatest Vedantists because we are chanting Hare Krishna. Right? We have come to the ultimate purpose. That's why you see Prabhupada started this movement by chanting Hare Krishna. When you chant Hare Krishna, the magic happens. Otherwise, you're not chanting Hare Krishna, you're reading Bhagavad Gita, no use. You may know knowledge, but what are you doing? Nothing. There's something known as doing-knowing gap. You know, but you're not doing it. Right? But when you're doing what is supposed to be, by chanting Hare Krishna activity, Krishna will give you all knowledge. Krishna will give you all vairagya, renunciation, everything Krishna gives, because holy name is Krishna himself. Everything, all reservoir of all energies, all power, all knowledge, all renunciation, everything you will get. That is the faith Prabhupada had with the holy name. He says, when I entered America, my only faith was on the holy name and my spiritual master's instruction. That's what happened. That's what miracles happened. Okay, this is because Prabhupada knew the purpose. The purpose of Vedanta is bhakti. And bhakti is easily done by chanting Hare Krishna. See, so nicely Krishna is bringing about this whole wonderful purpose in such a nice way. And now Krishna comes to say, with regard to performing your duties, how you should perform your duty. In verse 47, the famous verse, Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Okay, so Krishna so far explained the purpose of Vedas is to serve Krishna. And serving Krishna has to be done under direction of spiritual master. Okay, spiritual master has given instruction also. And with your existence in the material world, you have got specific directions with regard to your body, right? Guna, karma, some directions are there with regard to your duties called prescribed duties. How you should work with all these so many, guidelines. So Prabhupada explains in a lecture on this verse. Krishna is explaining what is known as spiritual professionalism. Right? All of you are professionals. You are doctors, you are from different fields, right? Professional means there are professional ethics. Right? You have to work like this. You're trained in that way. As a doctor, you're supposed to be very courteous with the patients. Right? Like this, many ethics are there in every profession. So Krishna is talking about the ethics in the profession of spiritual work. Because Prabhupada is telling spiritual activity is not simply some recreation or time pass. Whenever you want, you can just do something. No, it is a very serious business. It's like profession is a serious business. Profession means you have to give your time for that. You have to dedicate your specific energy, time, everything for that. Only then it happens. Not that you are calling yourself a doctor and don't even go to your clinic or hospital. What is the point? You're not called a doctor. Likewise, Krishna is giving us the concept of you are supposed to also act as a spiritual professional because you are a spirit soul. And what is the ethic? That ethics is what Guru Krishna explained now in next few verses. The first ethic is whatever you are supposed to do your duty of your material duty as well as spiritual duty. That is your right. Krishna speaks law now. Right, your right to perform your duty. The duty with regard to your body, duty with regard to soul, you have to do. And while doing this duty, don't expect results. Do with the good intentions that it is done as a service to Krishna. Result, leave it to Krishna. That Krishna doesn't say here, but it's understood. Ma phaleshu kadachana. And while doing the duty, specific duties assigned to you, don't think that you are the cause of the result. Because to get the result, there are so many factors, multiple factors. Right? One result has to come means there are so many things, unseen, seen, known, unknown factors. So never consider yourself to be the result of the result of any activity. And because you are not supposed to, you are not entitled for a result, and you're not supposed to consider yourself the cause of the result, don't also go away from not doing your duty. Mate sangostva karmani. Because Arjuna's case here was that, with specific to Arjuna, he was running away from his duty of fighting. So Krishna is telling, do it as your duty without attachment to result. Whether what will happen, leave it to me. I will take care. So Krishna says, Sada Prabhupada says, his non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Right? Such attachment will not lead you to the path of perfection or salvation. Because any attachment, positive, negative, they're like two sides of the same coin. Both are cause of bondage. Do it as a duty. Right? So inaction also is not good. That's what Krishna is telling us. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only way for Arjuna. See how nicely Krishna is bringing up this whole point. Next, Krishna explains. So this type of ethic is called yoga. Yoga means activity done for Krishna only, or any activity connected or linked to Krishna only. So Krishna says in verse 48, do your activity kuru karmani in this way. This yoga background with yoga understand, which means everything you work, you do your activities without result, without expectation of result, and offer results to Krishna. Never consider yourself the cause for the results, and not run away from your duty. This is called yogastha. So do your activities in this way without attachment to results, right? And because result means it may be success or failure, because once you become attached, you also will become, you will be entitled even for the results, the outcome. So don't become entangled like this, right? So in that way, if you are out of this siddhi asiddhayo, of this success failure concept, what will happen? That's what Arjuna was thinking. No, oh, if I fight, this will happen, that will happen, failure, success, all these things he was discussing. Krishna is saying, come out of these dualities. Become equanimous, samo bhutva, evenness of mind. This evenness of mind is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Right? So nicely Krishna is explaining. So this basically Krishna is talking about what is the way Bhakti Yoga has to be performed. Bhakti Yoga has to be performed in this way, without any attachment to result. All results offered to Krishna. All activities are done for satisfaction of Krishna only and nothing else. Don't think that, oh, by doing this I'll become big devotee, that famous. Oh, by giving this Bhagavad Gita class I'll become famous orator. If I think like that, then it is not Bhakti Yoga. Right? Or if you think by understanding Bhagavad Gita like this, I can go and speak in my own circle, I'll become famous person. That is also not good. Right? Without any expectation of result, doing the service of Krishna, service to Krishna. That's what Prabhupada did. He was not behind any name, fame, anything. In a very humble way, he started everything. Name, fame started following him. Right? So Prabhupada says, don't try to see God, act in a way that God will see you. Right? Your activities are so sublime and so wonderful that God himself wants to come and see, oh, so nice devotee. That's the point. So Arjuna is advised here by Krishna that you have to do your duty of a Kshatriya. Cannot run away from your duty of a Kshatriya. That's what again and again Krishna is telling. So next 49th verse, Krishna is advising Arjuna that give up all your mentalities of so-called, so many calculations you have been doing, material calculations. Oh, if that happens, this will happen. If in the fight all the men are killed, then women will become without any caretakers, and society will become degraded, religion. So many things you are telling in first chapter. No? So Krishna is telling, give up all such fruity mentality, which means you are trying to judge an activity by seeing the outcome of it now only, and trying to do all your material calculations in your mind. Right? He's telling, Durena yavaran karma. In fact, this verse becomes the basis for the third chapter beginning. Anyway, giving a hint to you. So basically, Krishna is telling, give up all such dualistic understanding of good, bad, and so many material calculations of profit, loss, all these things. Become fixed up in Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. When you are firmly fixed up in Krishna consciousness like this, surrender to Krishna nicely, Buddho Sharanam Anvicha, then you'll come out of this miserliness. Miserliness means you don't want to use the assets for a better purpose to increase your assets in a better way. Just like Prabhupada says, the greatest asset we have is the body. Body has to be used for Krishna's service. If you don't use it for Krishna's service, then it is only useless. That is what Krishna also explained earlier. Don't become miser. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness. That will make one's life successful. Which means whatever energy you have, speaking energy, intelligent energy, your working energy, everything should be used for Krishna's service. Otherwise, it will only bind us more and more. Misers, what they do, the unfortunate people, they don't employ the energy for Krishna's service. Rather, they are misusing for what? Bhoga Ishwarya. Right? So Krishna goes on to say further, like this, if you engage yourself in Krishna's service, buddhi yukto jahatiha. If you engage in Krishna's service, devotional service like this, you will come out of action-reaction cycles of good and bad. Ubhe sukra dushkute. Because any action you do in the material world, it will have a reaction, either good or bad. But when you do action in Krishna consciousness, it is without any reaction. So in that way, Krishna says, this is the way of working, it's the art of working. Yoga karmasu kaushalam is the art of all work. So this art of all work, we have to learn from a bona fide spiritual master, which means anything you do, it is connected to Krishna in a proper way. This art you have to learn from a bona fide spiritual master. And what is the art? Everything should be done for Krishna's satisfaction. Just like Prabhupada, a sannyasi, was engaged in marrying his disciples. Actually, as Vedic intentions are such that sannyasi is not even supposed to attend a marriage. But here sannyasi is making a marriage ceremony, attending, or rather he is performing marriage ceremony. Again, this was all for, because in Western world, that time when Prabhupada went, girls, boys were living as girlfriend, boyfriend. This is not the way for advancing Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, get married, live a meaningful life. So Prabhupada did that. So it is called art of all work. Purpose. Prabhupada knows the purpose. So like this, Krishna goes on to say, the intelligent are engaged in such devotional activities and they are completely surrendered to Krishna in this way, and they free themselves from cycle of birth and death if you do this. Which one? Buddhi Yoga, if you do the way Krishna told us now, with all the working ethics, following spiritual master. Janma bandha vinirmukta. You'll be freed from cycle of birth and death, and you will go to a state of spiritual existence, spiritual world. Spiritual world means Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means no miseries. Padam gachanti anamayam. Anamayam means there is no miseries, without miseries. Amaya means full of miseries, dirtiness. Anamaya means no miseries. Right? So Krishna is telling, by doing this, following this activity, following this Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga under proper guidance, you will be freed from cycle of birth and death, and you will go beyond spiritual world. Now Krishna gives the, almost concluding this section in the next two verses. 52nd verse, Krishna says, when your intelligence is actually situated in this way, it is, coming out of all these confusions. In fact, in the last chapter, when Krishna asked Arjuna, have you understood this, everything? Arjuna says, Nashta moha smritir labdva. My illusion is gone. I have got my memory again. So here, again, same word Krishna is using. Like this, if you are in a dense forest of illusion, yadate moha kalilam, dense forest of illusion, wherein your intelligence is bewildered. What to do, what not to do, confused, perplexed. Oh, karo, ye karo, wo karo, ye karo. Don't become like this. But actually, when you know Buddhi Yoga, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, fixed determination, only doing Bhakti Yoga, then what happens? Then you will be coming out of all such illusions. Dense forest of illusion, Krishna says. Right? Then you will become indifferent to all that you have heard and all that is to be heard, which means nothing makes any difference for you because you know what is the purpose. Right? Many times, what happens with time, so many things change, but the principles have to remain intact with regard to spiritual understanding. That's what Prabhupada did. With time, place, circumstance, many things changed. According to Vedic system, a sannyasi is not even supposed to cross the seas. But Prabhupada not only crossed once, many times. In the ship, he crossed after the flight. I was traveling like anything. It's called Jet Age Parivrajacharya is called. So people, what? In our case, sannyasis will go from village to village by walk. They don't even use car. But Prabhupada is using flight. Cars. It is revolutionary. Because the purpose is what? Serving Krishna. Right? So that is what Prabhupada did, revolutionary things. Right? There is a nice instance with regard to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. When Prabhupada went to a village in Bengal, West Bengal, the same tree where Ramakrishna Paramahamsa got Jnanodaya. Okay, so there he used to sit, and when he was there, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, so that time somebody pointed, villagers told, there is some money below your seat. Immediately jumped up and said, Maya, Maya, Maya. Oh, I don't touch money. Right? Prabhupada also visited that place. It was a very well-known place, right? Prabhupada also was sitting in the same place. And somebody simply to test, villagers said, below you seat, this money. Prabhupada said, how much is there? Bring more. Why? Because Prabhupada wanted more money for preaching. He's not using it for his own purpose. Just see the difference. So what people have heard, what they're going to hear will be indifferent when you are situated in Krishna conscious platform. Oh, when I was before Krishna conscious, I didn't do this. I was doing this. Arey Baba, chhod do sab kuch. Abhi kya karna hai? What you have to do? Very clear. That is what Krishna is telling is here. So in this way, Krishna concludes this section by telling, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, Shruti Vipratipanna te yada sasi nischala, then you remain fixed up in self-realization. Right? You'll become samadhi. In samadhi, you'll come to samadhi, and that way you would have attained what is known as divine consciousness. After saying this, Krishna, will not speak further. Arjuna asks a question. This state of divine consciousness, right? Sthira buddhi, samadhi sthiti, what you're talking, Krishna. Maybe it is very nice to hear, theoretical, but practically how, you can see somebody. That is the next question of Arjuna, which we'll see in the next session. Okay, this is the fourth section called Buddhi Yoga. So today we understood Krishna is speaking about a very important section in Bhagavad Gita, which is going to be explained in detail later. Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness, where everything you have to work only for Krishna. Krishna says activity in this is actually, it is continuous, it is permanent, no loss. Once you start, it's going to continue forever for you, right? Then Krishna says, so do this activity with full determination. Don't get diverted here and there, because if you divert, again you lose chance. And how to do this activity with full focus? Follow bona fide spiritual master. And there are people who just say in the name of Vedas, rituals, so many other pujas, they get diverted and distracted in so many ways. They have lost the purpose. Their only purpose is sense gratification. Don't become like this, Arjuna. Because when you're interested only in sense enjoyment and increasing your material opulence, material wealth, then the determination to do bhakti will not come to you. So better you rise above this understanding, which is generally people misunderstand from Vedas. You come to the purpose of Vedas, that is Vedanta, and follow that Vedanta study, which is actually going to bring you from all these dualities and make you fixed in service to Krishna. Right? So Krishna, after telling this, he gives the example of what? That how one small pond, like this, many ponds will have different purposes served, but a bigger reservoir of water or a flowing river will serve the all purpose. Like this, when you know the purpose of Vedas, then your life is perfect. With this, Krishna says, if you know this much, then you have to work in a proper way. But Krishna consciousness is the only way I have to do. How to work? Any activity you do, mental, physical, intellectual, any level, offer the results to Krishna. Don't consider yourself the proprietor of the activity or result. You don't consider yourself to be the proprietor of the result, right? Rather, don't run away from the work also, duty also. You should do your duty. Doing inaction, Prabhupada says, is sinful. So with this understanding of Krishna consciousness, which is known as yoga, buddhi yoga, if you do your activities without any attachment, then actually you are come to the proper level of what is known as yoga understanding and yoga performance. Any other activity you should give up, because any other activity, they are called abominable. Prabhupada says, except work in Krishna consciousness, any other activity is abominable because they bind the worker, cycle of birth and death. So Krishna says, so perform activities only in buddhi yoga. Any other activity will only further entangle you, and people who get entangled are called misers. So Krishna, Arjuna, this is the way or art of doing work. Yoga karma kaushalam. Do this way. This will relieve you from cycle of birth and death, take you to Vaikuntha Loka. And when you have understood this properly, all your illusions and confusions are lost, and you'll become fixed up in divine consciousness or Krishna consciousness. This is the sum and substance of this section. Okay, so I have not used any visuals, no presentation, I have only spoken. Any questions? Hope it is like a story, right? Bhagavad Gita is like a story. Is a, is a flow, is there. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can we get the recordings also, because it is always better to do the session after reading.
Okay, we'll provide you. Okay. We'll arrange. So host, please please arrange the recording. Okay, post all the previous recordings also, that anybody want to access anything, they can access. Fine. Anything else?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Both yoga and karam yoga, both are same or two are different?
Both are same.
Both are same.
Both.
Okay.
Buddhi yoga is synonymous to bhakti yoga, is synonymous to Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Okay.
Buddhi yoga basically means, if you are new to this session, basically means connecting our limited buddhi or direction to Krishna's direction, Krishna's buddhi in Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
Buddhi yoga. Because right now we are working based on our limited understanding, limited direction with regard to I am this body, my body connections and everything. Work for society, community, all these things. Our buddhi, limited buddhi. We have to transcend this limited buddhi and understand that I am not this body and spirit soul. That only Krishna is giving us in Bhagavad Gita. That's why it is known as buddhi yoga. Connecting your limited buddhi to Krishna's unlimited buddhi. Okay, fine. Any other question? Any clarification? Okay, fine. So we will close now, and we will try to see that we take up the next section, very interesting section, on the practicalities of Bhakti Yoga. It's so nice. Bhagavad Gita is very wonderful. To just meditate like this, and you're sitting and you have to meditate like this on Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is very, very wonderful, because more you meditate, Krishna will give us more understanding when you know the basic of what is Krishna is talking here. Right? Fine. So we'll close now. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.